Boom. As it's been, so it is now. As it is now, so we will ride into the future. One moment, one present at a time. And today that begins by taking a left. Welcome my people, welcome my friends, welcome my family, welcome my soul brothers and sisters and people from all over the place. From within the darkest corners of your hearts. Oh, shining some light in there. From the back of your minds. From the words in my mouth to your beautiful little prickling ears. Now, it's a beautiful day. We're doing a podcast. In order to do that podcast, one thing has to change from what is currently the situation. We must go from walking to running. So I will do that in 3, 2, 1. Hey! Now, what is happening here is the podcast. Runcast, really. I've called it that before. I'll do it again. 100 times. Oh, God. Oh, Tabasco ramen. Whew. All right. There we go. We're settling in. Got a little dappled shade. It's a little cooler than yesterday and the day before. Got more of a breeze happening. That's great. That's great. Just take it in. Water, coffee, breakfast, podcasts, percolating ideas, motivation, sunblock. And now, here is episode 32 of Ride Along with Runman, with your host, your humble courier. I carry you in front of my navel. Today from my left hand, you are on my phone, and we are moving. A little bit less now, but, still. I have a plan for today. It's a maybe run. It could be a long run, could be a short one. I don't want to do what I did yesterday and think to myself, I'm going to run for 20 minutes and that's going to be fun, and then end up going for a zillion years. This time I'm just going to leave the possibility open because I got out a bit earlier than I was going to. That means that we have some leeway. That means that we have options. Even more options. And I don't have to sacrifice a work day to do it. Everything in its place. Everything in good time today. All things in good time to those who wait. To those who are poised to pivot. We talked a bit about that yesterday. Or perhaps it was the day before. It's all blending together. We've done a lot of running in these last few days. A lot of running. Long episodes. Pretty close together. It's been feeling good. There's no way to do Runcast wrong if we're following this feeling. There's no way. It's perfect every time. Oh yeah, an update. Yesterday, indeed, I got home and I studied my body. And yes, I had rivulets, I had lines, I had ore veins of salt caking the undersides of my arms. Very cool stuff. And when there wasn't actual ore veins of salt on my skin, everywhere else there was a shiny, glistening thing like I had been showered in powdered glass or something. My whole body was very reflective. Felt like one of the goddamn Twilight vampires. It was nuts. I was highly refractive. It was really something. Maybe I should have taken a picture. It was a subtle detail, though. It was subtle. Not the most visually available. Certainly not the most visually appealing thing. Sweaty, half-dead, salt, wrung out sea sponge. That's what I was. Whew. Sea sponge out of water. Felt like SpongeBob in episode 2, season 1, when he visited Sandy for the first time in her tree dome, where there was O2. He dried out pretty quick. Of course, then we appropriately hydrated, did a few orders. Yesterday worked out just fine. Better than just fine. You know how I ended the night? Cheeseburgers. Whew. cheeseburgers, cheddar. Oh, I did manage to burn myself with burger grease. Pretty hardcore. It was the worst grease burn I've had in a long time. Maybe ever. But that's a testament to how little I've been burned in this life. I did not have any bubbling of the skin. Just some redness. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, redness is basically gone. I'm quite happy to have avoided extensive burns in this lifetime. I have heard that they are heinous. And it definitely hurt. But I got an ice cube on it and we were good to go. And then dinner was sweet. Had a big old half moon of sauerkraut with that dinner as well. It's a little older. I was hoping to get some fresh sauerkraut, but the batch that I pulled from Costco was more on the side of fermentation, so more bubbly and sparkly than it was firm and crunchy. I like both of those for different reasons, you know. And I've still got half a mind to pickle up and ferment up some grape leaves and various other miscellaneous greenery. That's in my future for sure. The fabrication of custom kimchis, hell yeah. That's our world right there. That's our wheelhouse to come. But right now, we're not fermenting sauerkraut or lettuce leaves. Right now, we're running in a straight line for a period of time, more or less a straight line. We're going to take a right eventually, because yesterday, out on the delivery paths, I stumbled in on some beautiful territory in that neck of the woods, and I've half a mind to trek on a little bit, make some progress, and just see if I can't even approach the mileage to bring that territory into reckoning. So we'll see. We'll see. Another option I have is just to turn back instead of taking a right eventually when this road ends. We might do that. I might get, I'm definitely feeling itchy in the wallet. I want to bring some numbers in. That's going to require a time sink today. Whew. I do want to just get on it, you know. But as much as I have that sense, I don't have it in an irritable way. It's not an abrasive, itching sore. I've had those before. Whew. Well, I don't know how many sores I've had in my life. I've definitely had abrasive itching, though. I have it right now. I have itchiness in the pit of my chest. It's not uncommon. It's one of the reasons why I like to run without a shirt, so that the wind can kind of wick away excess sweat and buildup and stuff. It helps. Then I end up scratching at myself a little bit less. It requires discipline. You know, growing up as a kid, a lot of pimple popping, a lot of over grooming. As an adult, I'm noticing that. And I'm working with it. Oh, speaking of the work, since we've been doing this pretty regularly, I'll incorporate a small installment, a small update in the serial archives of the Justin talks about Wim Hof. This thing. Today's Wim Hof breathing went very well. I broke 3 minutes twice. The fourth round, I did what I often do when I'm that deep in the practice, and completely lost track of of hitting the stop button when it came time for the final recovery breath. I've done that so many times. So by the time that I realized, oh shit, I didn't hit the timer when I started this breath, now it's almost time to stop, breathe out, and just begin my day. Well, then my eyes flew open and I hit the button. I hit the stopwatch button, and it read 3:35, I think. But at least 15 of those seconds, probably more like 20 or 25 of them, were recovery breath, and I don't count the recovery breath in the actual time of the hold, because the hold is the hold and the breath is the breath. Of course, I do allow myself to hit the button the moment I begin the 30th breath, rather than the moment that I stop exhaling, which would probably be the most honest count. But that's okay. So really, if I say that I'm doing these 3 minute, 30 second breath holds, if you were to assess that 30th breath and find that I'm beginning the count before the hold portion officially begins, and that's not your goalpost or your signpost, and your signpost is just hold, just while nothing is happening, then I'm probably 20 more seconds shy of whatever I say that I'm doing. So these little things, how do you like to count? I like to count that way. I begin breath 30, and while I still have my faculties, while I'm inhaling, while I'm empowered, while things are still in motion that have had momentum for a long time, I've been breathing big, so my body can do that in a relaxed way, and I can divert enough of my attention to flip my wrist over with the phone in my hand and flex my thumb and hit the stopwatch button pretty accurately. I've missed before, and I've forgotten entirely to begin the count before. Heck yeah. That's all a part of the glorious misadventure that is that practice. It's fantastic. I wouldn't have it any other way. And it also makes the victories even sweeter. Victories like today. And it felt like a victory. You know, it felt like a victory. It felt like an honor. It felt like a sacred honor. Like I had dipped my toe in a bigger, stranger, twilit world. Among a host of orchestral, harmonic multitudes. And if that doesn't make any sense, I felt like I was riding along. There's no difference to me between the two statements that I just made. Orchestral multitudes, that sounds good, doesn't it? Ride along, however. Ooh. Yep, we've got some bow movement. Whew. Still, head high, plowing forward. Yeah, ride along is shorter, more concise, more pragmatic, less susceptible to the ways of the woo. I can bring more people in if I use both forms of language. One type will appeal to some folks, another type will appeal to other folks. Such is the breadth of the applicability of the practice. Such is the boon afforded anybody who will do this practice. I'd say just flippantly, completely based in non-reason and boy-like inspiration, just giddy, fizzy, running around sort of me, I am tempted to say, and will say, and I might be wrong, and that's okay, that particular practice is probably a net positive, if not a significant net positive, to the life of 95% of the human population. I'm going to give 1 in 20 people a pass and say there's nothing wrong with those people. They just have different chemistry, and this breathing might not help them. No fault of their own. No way they can practice it, no way they can modulate it that makes it the way that it is for most of us. We are just a diverse people, we humans. You gotta afford that. Kind of like the drop of water in the wine glass. Thank you, Eric Weinstein, for that prayer. I might pray that way sometime. And at dinner, drip that drop of water into my wine and intentionally muddle it with an imperceptible but knowledgeful but knowing impurity. Because I don't want to be that pure. I don't want to say that anything can be good for everybody. You start talking in absolutes like that, and people like Obi-Wan come at you with a lightsaber, spouting their absolute statements. And then there's a whole face-off between the Sith and the Jedi. We don't want to go that route. We can. Plenty of tussling happening in the world between lots of people who think they're right and a lot of other people who think that those people are not right. It must be stopped. A lot of that in the world. Me. Well, I finally listened to Wim's pilot podcast with Russell Brand. And I like his talk of harmony, social harmony across cultures. I like that talk. And I liked it when Russell brought up that this harmony isn't harmonious the way that people often use the word and tout it. Because Wim's talk of harmony came in a context of building wells in Africa, so that tours in Africa, was it with the Maasai people? What were their names? Could happen. Where these rangers could take outsiders into the fields, into the plains with the lions. And that's all you get. You get a guy with a spear, and on the other side of his spear is the lion. But that's the part of the tour. It's raw and it's real. And that kind of harmony is very natural. But you talk to a Westerner about harmony sometimes being your skull getting split by the toothy, shrapnel-like maw of the jaws of a lion. How that being world harmony in some ways. You talk to a Westerner about that, and we say, no way, that's chaos. Well, yeah. Chaos for a human at the moment of death might be harmony for the world at large in that moment as well. Because paradox. Because in a perfect world, the lion still exists. Maybe. See, there I go again talking absolutes. Better look around. I'm about to get jacked by a lightsaber wielding light warrior. Or Sith Lord. You know, the way that we gun them down on my podcast, the way that we take aim and let fly with our intentions and our buoyancy, our support of each other, the way that I bring people along, I'm probably rubbing all the people wrong. With all the lightsaber colors, they're probably all coming for me. That's okay. Because we're talking in metaphor, that's okay. Hopefully, that does not end up translating to any kind of a physical threat. I really hope. Well, that's just it, isn't it? Why do you think I'm talking the way that I'm talking? Because I'm safe to do so. Why am I safe to do so? Because fuck all is around me. That's why. Nobody, very few people anyway, are around. So that for these little moments, these half of an hours, these 15-minute closers, these sit casts, these breath casts. If you'll notice, I pass people by pretty quick. If you'll notice, I juke quite a bit. If you'll notice, I don't typically stop and hang with people. That might be something that happens at some point. But right now, I am just not that comfortable talking, except alone. So, the path of senility beckons. I am welcome, as much as I am loath to speak only to myself, or we can do the harder thing and find an outlet. Wim Hof and Russell Brand were talking about finding a second door. When life does what life does, and shut doors, it opens others, doesn't it? But it's up to us. Eyes open, breathing and reaching, or allowing. Well, just allowing for the possibility of the other doors. Because if you think they're all shut, doesn't matter where they are, if they're locked, who's guarding them, or if they're open and beckoning, light streaming towards you. If your eyes are shut, doesn't matter. If you have hands but refuse to twist the knob, doesn't matter. It may as well be a wall. If you called it a wall, if you stared at the door that was open, light streaming, and your eyes are closed and your hands are knotted into fists, and your feet refuse to budge and move toward that door. Or suppose the door moved toward you and you refused it and backed away, or juked the door, stuffed wads of cloth in your ears, and screamed, "La la la, it's a wall." And you then get a guy like me running past you out of seemingly another life, in another world, out of a mythos that has no place in your universe. And you either saw me or you didn't, but I heard you wailing, "La la la, there's no door. It's a wall." I'm not going to disagree with you. Because for all intents and purposes, your interpretation is completely valid. I'm looking for what's useful for me. I have no time to pry anybody else's eyes open. What was that? What was that proverb? What was that saying? Pull the 2x4 out of your own eye before you assist somebody else with their splinter. Oh, it's been a good lesson to learn. I haven't learned it yet, but I've definitely had the chance to. I'm reflecting on two of the most recent experiences that I had doing that, where with mostly, at least the pretense of mostly selfless intent, I reached across and I attempted to provide a little bit of insight or assistance to some people. This is a year ago. Not people that I knew very well. Yeah. But I thought, hey, I'm loving from overflow. I'm so well right now that I have the energy. And if they're talking and I see them in these morose conditions and they're reaching out with their words seemingly inviting my assistance, then we'll have a conversation. And how quickly do these conversations shut themselves down with the words still traveling, you know? It's funny because in those conversations, both of them that I'm thinking of, I knew. Whoa. Okay, let's keep the eyes about us. I knew within seconds that conversation was doomed. Those conversations were, well, not doomed, only my position in those conversations would have best been acted through in the spirit of, well, I'm just going to watch myself. I'm going to watch myself try to help somebody out and watch myself pull back and gracefully exit the conversation and see how fast I do it and learn. Maybe if I can't do it a bit more discernedly next time, a little more decisively, skillfully, so as not to hurt anybody's feelings. Because at a certain point, you really do feel like you're throwing your head against a brick wall with people. Take the medicine, fucker. No, Justin, I'm the avatar of anger. I, your associate, am no longer here. It is only anger speaking to you. And this is how this person fucked me. And this is how this person fucks themselves. And this is how I hate them so much, but don't really hate them. That was one conversation. What is this thing that is free? It's like a bumper. It's like a big fucking bumper. Well, I have no need of a bumper right now. But thank you, life, for offering me a bumper. Whew. In the weeds a little. Oh yeah, there's pricklies here. Okay. Surprise thistles, eh? Alright. We'll walk the fine line then. You know, I already have another way that I can go. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna keep going. I don't know this road that well. Not for all the times I've been on it. Haven't really looked around that much. But I do know that it goes off into the hills to my left. I know there's outlets to the hills, to vineyards and properties and nice homes and long roads, twists and turns, ill-placed address numbers, redundant stop signs and other stop signs that are at angles that you just can't make great use of, surprise blindsided merges and lane merges and all kinds of mountains are rough, man. Driving mountains that you don't know. Well, I suppose running mountains is also kind of the same. Whew. Almost speared my foot on a double-pronged piece of metal. The roads are like the oceans. Survivor Man is right. If you want to salvage, if you want to survive, and you are looking to salvage some tools from nature, sure you can, but one resource is always available to the shore-bound survivor out surviving on his own, and that is the trash wash up that occurs everywhere in the world, everywhere he's ever been. Never found a shore that didn't have trash from the other side of the world on it. And that trash sometimes makes for good weapons, sometimes makes for good water containers, sometimes makes cordage or any number of things. That's the world we live in right now. Oh, yeah. I kicked a thistle just now. Woo! I'm not going to look down and see if there's anything in my shin. I don't need to. I know it hurts. And it's slowly going away. Ah. Perhaps. Yeah, well, I've been curious for a while. Perhaps this is my left. Honeysuckles. They smell so good. They smell so good. All right. Last night I was laying in bed. It was, I forget if it was bedtime or if it was the first or second time that I woke up to use the restroom in those between hours. One way or the other though, I found myself laying in bed, just listening for body signals. And how long we been going? Half an hour. Okay, so it takes about a half an hour to get to the realm of the frontier of what I'm used to from the direction that I chose. I'm gonna go now. Maybe it's not strictly legal, but it was safe. How often have I taken the legal route that was far less safe than the route of discernment and moment-to-moment fluid action from presence? How many times? Good Lord. There are some really ill-made roads out there. Okay, well, leaving that behind, I want to come back to this moment